So today we are finishing our story. We're reading the last two chapters. Yesterday we were not on, but you were supposed to watch chapter 8. And I will tell you what happened. So Jack and Annie decided to make some sandwiches. They made some sandwiches for them and the warrior. And then they were like, the riddle's solved, so let's go back home. When they were walking to the treehouse, who remembers what they saw in the treehouse? Jaden?
Lions?
Yeah, there was lions. So Jack is like, wow, that's where the lions were. So now we have to read to see how they get past the lions. It's a little bit scary. As we're reading, I want you to start thinking about the whole entire story. What happened in the beginning, what happened in the middle, and what happened in the end. There are a lot of things that happened, but we have to figure out what was the most important thing that happened in the beginning, the middle, and the end. So let's go chapter 9. Tiptoe. Jack and Annie crouched in the tall grass. There was a big lion, 3 lionesses, and a bunch of cubs. Wow, I think they're sleeping, whispered Annie. Yeah, said Jack, but for how long? He pulled the Africa book from his pack and opened it. He found a picture of lions sleeping under a tree. Does anyone remember why the lions sleep under the tree? All right, he read in the book, after a pride of lions has eaten, they will rest for a few hours. What did they have for lunch? Annie broke in. Don't ask, said Jack, so he kept reading. Sensing that the lions are not hunting at the moment, the other animals graze nearby. If they can graze, then we're safe, said Annie. She started to stand. Wait, Jack pulled her back down. Not so fast. He peered around. The words in the book seemed true. The zebras and giraffes didn't seem to be bothered by the lions sleeping at all. They might be safe, but I'm not so sure about us, said Jack. We need a plan. Remember, Jack likes to plan things. What if we wait till they leave, said Annie. That could take hours, said Jack. Plus, they might be hungry again by then. Oh, right, said Annie. So here's the plan. We tiptoe, said Jack. Tiptoe? Yeah. That's your whole plan, said Annie. Yeah, tiptoe to the rope ladder very quietly. Good plan, Annie teased. Just do it, said Jack. He stood up slowly. Annie stood with him. They began tiptoeing through the grass very slowly. The lion flicked his tail. Jack and Annie froze. When his tail was still again, they moved again. Suddenly, high-pitched laughter split the air. Jack and Annie stopped. The hyenas were back, and they were standing off to the side watching Jack and Annie. Jack and Annie made silent monster faces and shook their fists, but the hyenas only laughed some more. The big lion stirred lazily. He opened his golden eyes. Jack felt the hair on the back of his neck rise, but he didn't move an inch. So Jack is so scared right now. The lion lifted his head and yawned. His giant teeth gleamed in the sunlight. The lion turned his head as he looked around sleepily. Jack held his breath as the lion's gaze rested on him. So the lion is staring at Jack. The lion sat straight up. His piercing yellow eyes met Jack's eyes. So now they're looking into each other's eyes. Jack's heart raced. His mind raced. He remembered something he read. Lions avoid giraffes. Jack looked around. There was a giraffe walking toward the tree that the magic treehouse was in. Suddenly, he had a new plan. What do you think their new plan is going to be? So they're not going to tiptoe anymore. Jack says, I remember that lions don't like to go near giraffes. So what do you think Jack and Annie are going to do? Jaden?
They're going to get giraffes.
They're going to get giraffes. There's one giraffe near the treehouse. So I like that. Let's see. Get under that giraffe, he whispered. Now you're the one who's nuts, Annie whispered back. Jack grabbed her hand and he pulled her over to the giraffe and underneath it. The giraffe's legs were so long that Jack and Annie could stand up underneath the giraffe. That's cool. Jack's head barely brushed the giraffe's golden belly. The tall creature froze for a few seconds. Then she moved slowly toward the tree. Jack and Annie walked in the same rhythm as the giraffe. They got closer and closer to the treehouse and closer to the pride of lions. The big lion had stood up. He watched them moving under the giraffe. When the rope ladder was just a few feet away, Jack and Annie dashed out from under the giraffe to the rope ladder. Annie scrambled up first. Jack followed right behind her. As they climbed, the lion growled and leaped at the ladder. The hyenas, they just laughed. Jack climbed faster than he'd ever climbed. He leaped after Annie into the treehouse. Annie had already unrolled the scroll. The riddle was gone. In its place was one shimmering word, honey. Remember, honey was the answer to the riddle. Jack grabbed the Pennsylvania book. He opened it and found the picture of Frog Creek Woods. I wish we could go there, he said in one breath. Just then, the giraffe stuck her head through the window. Bye, honey, said Annie, and she kissed the giraffe on his nose. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. So that was chapter 9. We're still going to read one more chapter today. But what happened in chapter 9? What just happened to Jack and Annie? What did they do? What did they see? Where did they go? How did they get there? What happened to them? Alana?
The lions and hyenas.
Say louder. Say louder.
The
Say
lions?
louder.
They seen the what?
The lion and the hyenas.
Yeah, the
Hyenas.
lion and the hyena. And the hyenas were just laughing at Jack and Annie. That wasn't nice. They didn't even try to help them. They were just laughing while the lions were under the tree. What else happened? Giovanni?
It happened. They're gonna get the giraffe to go to the treehouse.
Yeah, they got underneath the giraffe to get to the treehouse. And Jack and Annie were just standing up, walking under the giraffe because the giraffe was that big. And then they got the Pennsylvania book and decided to go home. Let's move on to chapter 10. Chapter 10. After lunch, Jack opened his eyes. His heart was still racing. The hyena's laughter still rang in his ears. He could still hear them laughing. We made it, said Annie. Yes, said Jack, but it was very close. Jack took another moment to calm down. Then he pulled the Africa book out of his pack and put it with the other books. Annie put the scroll with the other two scrolls. The giraffe was the true honey on that trip, she said. Sweet and golden, with danger all around it. Yep, Jack said. Now we just have one more riddle to go. Yep, said Annie. Ready? Ready. She started down the ladder. Jack followed her. When they hit the ground, they walked through the sunlit woods. It's time for lunch, said Jack. I'm still full from our picnic, said Annie. Same here, said Jack. So what do we tell Mom? Said Annie. We say we ate our sandwiches coming back from the store, said Jack. What if she asks why? Just say we had a picnic with a Maasai warrior in Africa, said Jack. Annie laughed. Right, she said, because we wouldn't want him to be mad at us for taking his honey. Right, said Jack. The honey from a beehive that a honey guide led us to. Right, said Annie. And that happened after an elephant gave me a shower. And we scared off 2 hyenas. Right, said Jack. And after you fell into a mud hole because you were helping 1,000,000 wildebeest migrate across the river. Right, said Annie. And all that was before the giraffe saved us from the lion. Right, said Jack. Jack and Annie left the Frog Creek woods and started up their sunny street. They were silent for a moment. Then Jack pushed his glasses into place. We better just say we ate our sandwiches on the way home from the store, he said. Right, said Annie. And if Mom asks why, started Jack, we'll just say it's a really long story, said Annie. Right, said Jack, with like 10 chapters. Annie laughed. Good plan, she said. Very good plan, said Jack. They crossed their yard, they went up their steps and through the front door. We're back, Annie shouted. Great, called their mom. Ready for lunch? The end. And there is their peanut butter. Did you guys like the story? All right. Let's think about what happened in the beginning of the story, in the very beginning. What was the first thing that happened? Jaden?
The first thing that happened is Jack and Annie the tiger went up the tree house.
That happened, well, the lion today was there at the treehouse. But what happened in the very beginning of the story when Jack and Annie decided, hey, let's go to Africa?
Morgan was there?
Yeah, Morgan was there. So in the very beginning, Morgan gave Jack and Annie the book to go to Africa to solve a riddle. Then in the middle of the story, what happened? What happened in the middle? So it can be one of the problems that Jack and Annie faced in the middle of the story. Giovanni?
Annie was stuck in the muddle?
Yeah, so Annie got stuck in the mud. That can be something that happened in the middle. Any other problems that happened in the middle? Annie got stuck in the mud. They saw the 2 hyenas and had to scare them off. There's one more important thing that happened in the middle that I'm thinking about. In the middle, Jaden?
That Morgan disappeared.
That was in the beginning. That's something that happened in the beginning. Morgan disappeared. In the middle, what was that little bird?
That little bird.
Do you remember the name of that bird?
No.
Who remembers the name of the bird? And what did the bird bring Jack and Annie to? Jaden, you remember now?
The little bird bring them to the honey.
To the honey. The bird's name is a honey guide. That's another thing that's important. And then what happened at the end of the story? At the end, the last very important thing that happened. Jaden?
And then, they went home.
They went home. That's important. Right before they went home, they found the answer to what?
The riddle.
The riddle, the third riddle, and they only have one more to solve. So today when you're writing your message, you can write something that happened first, something that happened in the beginning, the middle, or the end. Or the end. Parents, if you feel like the kids are ready to start writing more, they can write what happened in the beginning, middle, and end. It's up to you. All right, you guys are all free to go. Say goodbye to your friends.
Bye. 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 Bye.
Bye-bye.